Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. I'm going to let some more people get in here. Let me pull my notes out because I have a lot to say. Because as a social media content creator, which now I have to accept that I guess I am one, which I never thought I would take this path in life. Because I've never considered internet as something that I like, So good morning, Aiko Follette one. Y'all don't get angry at me when I can't say your name right. It's just me. I barely speak good English sometimes. Miss Right Time, good morning. Let's talk about social climbing. I've talked about social climbing before in the past. Those videos probably aren't up. They're probably in my inner circle. But I'm going to talk about social climbing in a way that may help you to figure out how to social climb. When I first started out on my journey, I was poor. I grew up dirt poor. When I say dirt poor, I literally grew up in a home where I saw the dirt. Like there was literally a room in my home growing up where there's nothing but dirt. So I'm not speaking about this from a position of I've always been here, okay? But I am speaking about it from a position of the work that me and my husband had to put in to social climb and move up the ladder in life. And so I'm going to talk about it because I see it's very popular and I have something to say about it. You know how I am. If I'm pulled, I'm coming. Because I see so many videos talking about the rich, the wealth. But I can literally tell that those people probably haven't been in those circles to understand what they're looking for and what they need to have. So this video, I'm going to talk about a variety of things because there's some things that I see that is problematic. Okay? It's problematic. The reason why I say it's problematic because you're going to have to, if you're trying to social climb and you want to leave from where you currently are, you're going to have to learn this key word. And I'm going to give it to you. It's called separation. You're going to have to wrap your head around the fact that to climb, you're going to have to separate. And not just in not being around your family, friends, or the people you grew up with. You're going to have to separate from the person you are to be the woman you need to become. There needs to be an entirely identity shift before you can ever climb that ladder and separate yourself from where you don't want to be to who you want to be. And that can become, I'm never going to say it's easy. I'm going to say it's difficult to do so, especially if you were raised with certain ideals. If you were raised to look at the world and have a certain perspective, you're going to have to change your identity. You're going to have to separate from who you currently are to become the woman that you want to become. So that's the very first word you need to learn. If you're trying to social climb, separation is your very first word you need to learn. You need to realize what it means. It doesn't just mean separating from family and friends. It means you need to start looking at life. Who do I need to become to have that thing? That is how you're going to be able to social climb successfully. All the things that you see on social media where they're saying go here, be there, go to some lounge or go to the airport. They're actually making that impossible now because social climbing is going to be more hard. It's going to be harder. I'm going to tell you facts. By 2025, the truly wealthy that have resources will isolate themselves. They have been doing this since 2015 because they understand there needs to be separation. So let's talk about what that looks like. How about that? We're going to talk about what that looks like. And we're going to talk about what we're looking for in social climbing. Because if you haven't done it, this is not something you need to try to accomplish by yourself. You need someone who has done it. So don't just think you can get all you can get from YouTube or social media, because it's not true. Because it is in the nature of people who have resources not to blast or put all their information on social media. It's not in the nature, so you will never see it. If you are interested in social climate and you want to be a woman who marries a man who has resources or a man of means, you're going to have to separate yourself and you're going to have to change your habits. Your habits are key. One of the things that you need to determine is television worth never separating for. Because when you're dealing with people who have resources, television is not a form of entertainment for them. It is normally learning, conferences, figuring out what they can do to up-level their life and their money. So if you're a woman who just leans on entertainment, that's the only thing you're focused on is looking for entertainment, something to what they call it, numb your mind and your body, you need to heal that. That should be a part of your self-concept work. Because when you're going into these circles and you're talking about reality television, you're talking about entertainment, these are not the topics that people who have resources have. They talk more about conferences, things of learning, being around people who can teach them. I've heard, and I've given this advice too. Normally, when I go in deeper advice on how to date, I tell women a lifestyle date. But I'm going to tell you now what I know, what's currently happening, that lifestyle dating will be an impossibility because compounds are being built. They have been built since 2015. And when the compounds that are being built that are separating the rich from the poor, you will literally have to live there or have some kind of approval to get into that compound. These compounds are so insulated. They have schools, they have shopping malls, they have coffee, places to get coffee. They have playgrounds. They have everything that they need on site. So being able to just social climb or meet that person in real life will be even harder. And I'm going to say by 2025, you're going to see more people separating themselves from the rich. Poor. Y'all get on me when I say poor. I'm just going to call it for what it is. So, like I said, key word is what? What is the key word that I gave you that you need to get in your head and to realize if you're trying to social climb? And if you are a woman who wants to actually go and date men who are on the top tier, you're going to have to learn the word separation, and you're going to have to not feel bad about separation because it is something you're going to have to get used to throughout your entire journey. And here's something that I hate saying, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Health is wealth. Health is key. People with resources, they're always trying to be healthy. So they go for the organic. They go for the good gyms. They spend a lot of money for a good gym. One that has that's going to meet all their needs, that's going to provide all the services and has good time opening times. So health is wealth. When you are out here dating and your health isn't important to you, they consider you to be poor. So they immediately start separating from you because health is wealth. It sounds harsh, but it is true. People with resources have been separating themselves since the beginning of time. Back in the day, the reason why women who are bigger were attractive is because they had access to meats. They had access to better foods, better quality of foods. But then when supermarkets, stores came along and it gave the poor access to the very things, then the people with resources separated themselves even more. So what did they do? They changed what was attractive. So they went back to slim and trim and health because it separates themselves. Like I said, I'm going to keep saying that word because you have to realize One of the things that's currently happening is separation. Social climbing is all about separation. Women need to get on board instead of fight the program, because there is no fighting the program. Either you want a social climb and you want the resources, or you don't. And you have to learn separation. Separation is key. Self-concept. Self-concept is so important. This is the reason why people who have resources, they get up, meditate, they read, they exercise, they have a routine, because this separates themselves from the poor. The poor get up and they entertain. They lay back, they chill. The self-concept is key here. And I think when I get through doing this video, you all are probably going to think that I'm arrogant. But I'm going to tell you this. When you are a woman of resource, a woman of means, you don't look at life as though it's a privilege. You look at life as though it's a right. I don't look at my life as though, oh my gosh, I'm privileged to be here. I look at my life as though I deserve it. This is my right. This is my birthright. This is what I'm supposed to have. This is a difference in self-concept that you need to take care of and separate yourself. So separation is what? Key. If you're a woman who think, oh, well, you can have it taken from you every single time, self-concept will tell you other. So if you think, oh, she's too arrogant, that it can be taken away any time, I will tell you that what I have once, I can have twice. What I have twice, I can have 3 times. What I have 3 times, I can have 4 times. Because the self-concept is, it is a right, not a privilege. It is a right, not a privilege. So if everything was to be taken away, we'll just build it again. No problem. Money is no issue. It is not a big factor. It is not a thing. It is a right, not a privilege to have money. It is self-concept. And men can tell the difference. If you're not going to fit in his lifestyle, if you don't speak his language, he is not going to take you to the next level. Dating these type of men, dating them. Marrying them is a whole nother story. And if you're getting triggered, you probably need to stay. You need to stay because it's something you need to hear, especially if you're one of those who want to social climb. The people who are teaching you about social climbing, they haven't done it. And since they haven't done it, they're caring about your feelings. I am not going to care more about your feelings than I care about facts and what's going to assist you and what's going to help you to do and accomplish the things that I have accomplished. Okay? But being wealthy, having resources, having access to the best of the best is a right. It is not a privilege. If you think other, change your mindset. Your self-concept is going to play a part in dating these men. Because who wants to connect with a woman and she's looking her nose up or looking down on the way he lives and talks about how he should be more grateful and have more gratitude? And I'm not saying these people don't have gratitude. I am saying that they look at life differently. Their mindset is different. And in order to be able to social climb and connect with one of these men, you need to change your mindset. So the biggest thing you need to ask yourself, who do I need to become to be able to date that particular man, to date or have that particular lifestyle? Who do I need to become? Because it's not about standing out. It's not about standing out. You'll be a flash in the pan if you stand out. You will never ever get to the inner circle of these type of people, because it takes 2 to 3 years to get into those circles. You think you're a part of those circles, but you may not be if you have not put your time in and shown that you are trustworthy, because privacy is key. This is the reason why I'm very doubtful when I come across people who say they have resources and they say they have this and that when they don't ascribe to privacy. Do they truly have it, or are they using social media to obtain it? Persistence. If you're the type of woman who, as soon as it doesn't go right, you quit. You don't have any grit. You don't have any persistence about you. You won't fit in with these type of people, because consistency, persistency is key. You will never hear people who have resources talk about luck, because they don't believe in it. They create their own luck. They create their own luck. And see, what did I say about the language? Like, being able to upgrade your clothes, your cars, wearing designer, living in the neighborhoods is not enough if you want to be a part of these circles. You need to speak the language of resource. You need to speak the language so that they feel that they can trust you. And then you connect with the right people. Social climbing is not even being taught correctly. Like, you don't recognize a man who has resources by his cars, his designer, his shoes. You don't recognize him by that. You recognize him by his teeth, his stability, his ability to learn, the language that he uses. The language is super important, because you can recognize where someone is based off the language they use. If that person uses a lot of slang, a lot of curse words, you can tell that they don't have class. They don't have what it takes to be in that class, in that circle. And not only the language that they use, the language that they use to talk about their perspective. So if their worldview is about luck and gambling, then you know that they don't speak the language of resource. The language of resource has a whole different language. And you need to learn that, because you're not going to recognize a man who has resources based off what he has, because what he has may be leveraged by the bank. So you're looking for different things. You're looking for the wrong things because you're going off of social media. The language of resource is they don't believe in luck. The language of resource is it is a right to have resources, not a privilege. The language of resource is going out to eat and going to top tier gyms. It's a write-off. It isn't a monthly pay. It isn't something, it's something they're going to do, but it's a write-off. The lifestyle has to mesh with his lifestyle. So, because I saw a video that was very interesting on TikTok where they were talking about the fact that men just marry who's in front of them. That is the language of the average. That's the language of the average. Only average men would marry someone who's in front of them. When a man has something to lose, he would never marry someone just in front of them. He's going to marry the woman whose lifestyles mesh well with his, who can get on his plan or purpose, whatever that is. Someone that he can, have a good life with and not clash. He doesn't want to come home to a war, basically. And those are the three things that a man who has means would marry a woman by. And it doesn't matter about her money. The money doesn't matter. She can literally be a waitress. She can literally be someone who works in the restaurant, works at a gas station, works at a store. It doesn't matter, because they don't care about that. But speak the language. Understand the language. Understand what's being said to you. Because I realize that it is tricky out here. Because it's easy to look at what someone has and think that they have resources, when the only thing you're looking is being leveraged by the bank. And there's a separation between rich and wealth also. So just like there's a separation between the poor, the middle class, upper middle class, rich and wealthy, there's a difference between the rich and the wealthy. The rich are still working. Like, why would y'all think the rich doesn't work? They work. They work freaking hard. The wealth is more along the lines of passive income. Like, they don't work as hard. But to get there, they had to go through all the levels first. Because the majority of your people who are wealthy, they are actually self-made. So self-development is another language too. You will not hear or see men who have resources, men of means, not have a way that they are investing in their self-development. So if you're a woman who won't do that, you refuse to do that, then you don't fit into the type of lifestyle that they're going to live, because they are going to invest in self-development. You're going to be able to see that they could invest 1,000, 2,000. It doesn't matter. If it's going to help them make more money, if it's going to help them even with a different insight or improve their fitness or health, they're going to invest in it. That investing in themselves is priority. It's number one. So when you go in and you say certain things, you're telling on yourself that you don't fit in, that you do not mesh well with the type of lifestyle that he will lead. And it doesn't matter what type of job you have or what type of degrees you have or how much money you have. You need to recognize when the language is being spoken that you can not talk, at least don't talk against it. Okay? Don't talk against it. Don't try to persuade them of other. Don't talk against or have an entire debate of being humble and not being arrogant, or they need to give more money away. Don't do that. If you're trying to be a part of those circles, you want to fit in, not stand out. You want to fit in and not stand out. Values, vision, lifestyle must mesh. It must mesh. It is no such thing as whoever the woman is in front of him that he is going to marry her. That is average talk. Like that means that man is an average man. And there's nothing wrong with average man. I'm not speaking against average men. But I know that right now we are in a climate, especially on social media, where women want to social climb. They want to go to that next level. They want to marry a man of means. But you need to figure out, where are you at now? Where do you land in what I just talked about? Are you in the working poor? Are you in middle class? Are you in upper middle class? Are you in rich? Or are you wealthy? Where do you land? And you need to move accordingly. And if you want to go up, you need to learn how to separate, because that's the biggest issue that people are in when they are the working poor. They don't want to separate. They want to take everybody with them. They don't want to change their mind. They don't want to change how they live. They want to take all of that with them into this man's lifestyle, and it will not work. This means you will be regulated to dating him and never marrying him. And now you need to make a decision. Which do I want? Do I want to date a man of resource that has resources, or do I want to marry him? Hi, Jan Essa. Hello. How are you doing? But this is important because the rich are separating themselves. The wealthy have already done that. The wealthy already did it. They did it way back in 2015 when I was talking about it. I think I started talking about social climate and how a lot of people have it incorrect in how to social climb, because you have to you need to stop trying to carry everybody with you. You need to separate yourself from not just the group of people that you grew up with. You need to separate yourself from the woman that you currently are. You have to figure out what type of woman would be able to date that type of man. You need to actually get invested into looking at the type of men that you want to date and look at the type of women that they date. And let me give you another clue. And this is how I know for facts that some people don't understand how to date and how to social climb. When you're lifestyle dating, you need to look at the community. The community will tell you where the money at. The community will tell you what the average income makes in that community. And then you need to go to the surrounding stores around that community. Because I guarantee you this, the people who live in that community, you may not be able to get in because the majority of it is gated. So you're not going to be able to walk your dog in that neighborhood because it's gated. You may not be able to, just appear in that neighborhood or check out the neighborhood because it's gated. You have to have permission to go on the premises or you can get arrested. What you can do is dig deeper, look beyond the zip code, get the community name, find out what the average income is for that community, then go to the bars, to the stores, to the place where they get coffee, go to those establishments and date. Those are the people you'll probably be able to have access to because it's going to get harder and harder to actually get access to rich. And if you don't do it by a certain amount of time, you won't be able to get it. And I'm saying that because of the compounds that the rich are building. The rich are building compounds. We're going to build us one too. The rich are building compounds where it's insulated. It is gated. And you cannot get in without permission. And on these insulated compounds, they are so insulated that they have schools. They're going to have schools. They have coffee shops. They have parks. They have everything that you could name in that insulated compound. So and plus, with everything that's making a shift now, they have a business. That's another key thing you need to realize. They're not working. So they don't, the rich is working, but they're shifting where they're working from home. They're shifting where they're working from home. All right. Can everybody else hear me? Because I want to make sure you can hear me. I want to make sure you can hear me. But they're shifting everything where they're working from home. And since they're working from home, they have no need to go to the store. They have no need to go get coffee. They have no need to go get bagels. Everything is delivered and they're going to be insulated. And since they're going to be insulated and isolated, guess what? It's going to be harder to access rich people. It's going to be harder to access rich people. So if you're trying to move up and that is your goal, because I'm not going to tell you which is right for you. There's a certain type, and some of you all think it's looks when it comes to being able to date rich men. It's not looks. It's a self-concept that you need to have. You need to be looking at who do I need to become to date those type of men. And you have to be eager and open to separation. Some people do not want to let go of their old lives. They don't want to let go of their old friends and family. They don't want to let go of their old beliefs. You're going to have to get rid of them because you need to speak the language. Because you have to be able to mesh with the lifestyle. If you don't mesh with the lifestyle, there is no reason to marry you. But there is a reason to date you. Beauty will get you in, but your mindset will keep you there. So what do you believe? Do you believe that being able to have resources is a privilege? Do you believe that you can lose everything in one swoop? Y'all have to realize people who have resources don't think like that. They think differently because they understand that it is a right to have these things. It may come across as arrogant, but this is another way to separate themselves from poor. Because where the poor is humble and doesn't have airs about themselves, they accept things that they shouldn't accept. And self-concept, when you do the up level in that, you will start to change how you see the world, your perspective of the world. It has to change. Just imagine a man who has resources and he marries a woman. Only thing she can think or talk about is the language of the poor. Only thing she has to give to him is about how his wealth or his resources should be divided and given away. So you need to think about these things. If you have these type of thoughts or thinking, I suggest you change them because you will not mesh well with the lifestyle. You won't mesh well with these type of people. You know what I'm going to tell y'all what you're going to have access to coming forward. Coming forward, you're going to have more access to the middle class and upper middle class. but you will not have access to the rich because they're isolating themselves. They're making sure that they only be around people like themselves. And that is for a reason. That's the reason why they tend to marry across. They may marry down, it's rare, but they marry people in their own circles. And that's by design. Why? Because do you know how hard it is to bring someone up and they think differently? Because thought process is important. It's not just enough to want to marry someone of wealth or resources. Your mindset has to be able to handle resources. You have to change the way you think. And this is not talked about a lot. We talk about on this app all day long about where we can meet them. We don't talk about how you cannot hold it. You can't hold it. Your self-concept is actually matching you with a man of middle class. Because you think like a middle class woman. You act like a middle class woman. And there's nothing wrong with being good-hearted or having a kind heart, okay? Because I truly do believe that the more that I'm in these circles, they're nice, they're kind, but they see the world differently. Your entire perspective of the world has to change. It has to change. You cannot be the same woman that you currently are and social climb into the world of resources and wealth. It's not possible. You will be the person they date and discard. All right, so I'm going to see what everybody's saying because I have a lot to say about this. And some of it's going to be triggering. But if this is you, why not get it from the horse's mouth versus just going on social media where people just have random stuff up there and they're not talking about how to accomplish it. And then y'all have to recognize there's a big difference between people who have it, don't show it. There's a certain level of privacy that comes with it. And there's the people who actually show it because they understand social media. If you show wealth, you'll draw people in, even if it's not real wealth. You'll draw people in, you'll get followers, you'll get likes, you'll get shares. But they're making their wealth off of you. Being around someone who has wealth is a different thing. It's a different thing. And you have to recognize when you're dealing with that. When you're dealing with someone who has it, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Social media don't make me. I came here already made because I married very well. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to go back here. I'll talk about hearing. Rich people love conversation that don't care much about looks. They also want things they can't buy, like loyalty and trust. That's the reason why there's a certain level of time limit that you would even consider someone a part of your circle. You do not get to become a part of the circle because you met a rich person. You only become a part of the circle once they have determined that you are loyal and you're trustworthy. And that takes 2 to 3 years. No one is going to tell you this. People are telling you you can get in these circles quickly. You can be around these circles, but being a part of the circle, being a part of the inner circle, that's a whole nother level. This is the level where you get not just to come to their homes, you get to know their secrets. You don't get access to them until you prove that loyalty and trust. And that takes 2 to 3 years. So when people are telling you that you can social climb into circles, you can tell they haven't done it because it takes time. You don't get access to them right away. I moved to a whole nother area and I'm just biding my time because I know it takes time to actually get in those circles. I know it takes time for them to see that I'm a loyal and trustworthy person. But I also put myself in position because I literally went over here and joined the country club today. This is so good, thank you. Also, how you eat gives your class and mindset away. All fried foods, ketchup, ranch, with everything, good luck. See, and that's another thing. Oh my gosh, do y'all realize how healthy these people are? How they understand that health is wealth? Around my neighborhood, you see black, white, all races running. They're up at the crack of dawn running, because people who have the mindset and speak the language of resources, they are trying to get things done. They're persistent. They're consistent. So they're trying to take care of their health. So they go to gym. They go to the gym. They take care of themselves. You literally see black women running in this neighborhood. And I'm like, wow, I'm excited, because at the other neighborhood, I didn't see enough running. I didn't see enough exercise. But that other neighborhood I lived prior didn't have the network, the money that needs to be had. So I moved up a whole nother level. But that's how you have to do, is you have to be willing to separate yourself and not get okay with present circumstances. You have to be willing to separate and move again, and separate and move up again, another level. That's how you social climb. You don't social climb by being content. There's no such thing as content. Content is a foreign concept with people with resources and means. They're always looking for more, the next level, the next thing. Remember, I said something about self-development? I'm always looking to be better. I'm always looking to improve. I'm always looking to pour in myself. So this is the reason why I don't understand women who are like, oh, I don't want to pay anything. I want it free. Well, you don't speak the language of resources and wealth, because the language of resources and wealth is all about self-development. They will pour into themselves. They pay bukus of money to understand themselves more, to touch in and align their chakras. They pay so much money to learn more about health and eat well and eat nutritious meals. They're always in mode of self-development. That's the reason why they would prefer to read versus watch television. $5 a.m., absolutely. 5 a.m. is the golden hour, and that's nothing but facts. 5 a.m., this neighborhood is already moving, because people are running, people are walking. Even in the evening, people are walking with their children. Like, health is wealth. Health is key. When you are overweight, and this is something no one wants to hear, I don't even like approaching it, because I understand how it can happen. Like, I had to deal with my own ish. So I am understanding. But when you are overweight, the language of resources and wealth looks at you as though you don't fit in, because health is wealth. Health is important. It's almost like if you're not healthy and you're not taking care of yourself, that you don't care about yourself. You're saying a whole lot without saying enough. You're saying a whole lot without saying enough. I won't get into that topic, because weight is triggering for people. They don't want to hear that if you're social climbing, because y'all looking at social media. Y'all looking at social media and seeing what people are showing you, and y'all are seeing that one girl that wasn't healthy and she lands her a millionaire. But y'all have to realize that's the exception. You cannot bank on the exceptions in life. You have to bank on the rule. And that's the reason why you can't bank on being different. You have to bank on separating yourself, but speaking the language of resource and wealth. I'm just telling you what it is. Like, I want to prepare you. I hate the fact that there's so many platforms that talk about this, but they're not telling you the truth. You really need to have this type of information. You need to realize looking beautiful is not enough when you're playing a different game. You can look beautiful, but not mesh well with that lifestyle. You can be a beautiful woman, but you don't have a great self-concept. You don't have a great worldview. Then you won't mesh well. Because there's plenty of beautiful women on social media. But when they open their mouths, it tells the story of what's going on for real. It's not your beauty. It's your thinking. I own a cleaning service. I clean for wealthy people. Their pantries filled with collagen, peptides, healthy organic snacks. Their kids have a ton of books early on. Yes, absolutely. Because the form of entertainment is self-development and books. That is the form of entertainment. Self-development, conferences, that is what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out, how can I become better? And if I were you, if you're this is one of the things you're interested in, you want to social climb, I suggest you write some of the questions down I'm giving you. Because these are things I had to ask myself. How do I want to become better? It's nothing worse than going to be around these people and you don't fit in. And not fitting in may sound like it's a win, but it's a loss, especially if you're trying to social climb and you're trying to go to the next level. If you want to fit, you have to fit in, get there first, then separate yourself to the point where it doesn't matter. And usually that happens at the level of wealth. That's when people stop caring to a certain degree of fitting in. So you have to look at, how do I separate myself? How do I separate myself if this is my goal? And that's another thing. They have goals. They're not sitting here dependent on luck. They're not dependent on hearsay. They're not dependent on, information from social media. They're setting goals, chunking it down, and getting it done. It's a whole different mindset. Everything is a right. That's the reason why y'all have so many Karens out here. Because they're not looking at life as though, oh, it's a privilege that I get to go to this store. It's a privilege that I get to spend this type of money. It's a privilege that I get to ride this type of car. It's a privilege that I get to be around this type of people. They could look at life like it's a right. It is my right to have this type of money. It is my right to live in this type of house. It is my right to drive this type of car. It is my right to be in this circle. It is a right. When you go in looking at life as though it is a right, you're already on the right path to changing your self-concept. And it helps you, too, to change your self-concept. Because you don't want to be your own worst enemy. You don't want to be your own worst enemy. And that is what some women's thing is. Because y'all know how many women I've met, I'd be like, oh, they would be they would be the perfect rich wife. They would be perfect rich man's wife. But their attitude, their self-concept is nasty. They look beautiful. The packaging is beautiful, but the insides aren't right. And that's what's keeping them and holding them back. They don't even want advice anyway. All right, so how about imposter syndrome? Feeling out of place even when you're qualified to be in that space. It's hard to fit in. This is where you're going to fake it until you make it. You're going to fake it until you make it. You're going to continue to go to that space until you feel like you own that space. And you're going to continue to push yourself to walk into that space as though you own it. Because when you look at people who have resources, they don't speak the language of lack. They don't speak the language of low self-confidence. They walk into places as though they own it. So you need to walk into a place as though you own it. You need to get beyond that feeling. Because everywhere you go, and you can start today, when you go to the grocery store, walk in there like you own the grocery store. When you go shopping, walk in the place like you're going to buy out the store. Walk into places as though you own it. So even people will get confused and they'll come up to you as though you own it. As though you own it. So no matter what I'm wearing, you all, and this is the reason why I feel like it's super important to learn about energy. No matter what I'm wearing, I don't have to be dressed top tier, have everything done. When I walk into the store, I get assistance first. Why? Because I'm walking in as though I own it. I'm walking in as though it is a right. It is your privilege to serve me. It's my right to be served. And that's a whole different mindset shift that you have to go through. This is true. I'm not wealthy, but when I meet certain people, the things they say in their mannerisms determine if we connect, not looks. Absolutely. The mannerisms. Oh my gosh. I'm glad you brought it up. Let's talk about mannerisms. Mannerisms you have to look at your mannerisms. Your mannerisms could be to the point where even if you're dating a married, never that, because you have to move with a certain level of class too. So your mannerisms tell an entire story. If you're the type of person, the first thing that comes out your mouth is a curse word and slang, and even your body language is off. This will tell all that needs to be told. See, you're not even speaking the language of resources and wealth, and it is a language. And women who learn the language, learn the mindset, it's going to be so much easier for them to social class. Let's get beyond this superficial level of social climbing that doesn't work. That's what, didn't I tell y'all in 2023, I'm going to push my community because I want you all to have better, to have more. So I'm going to have to push you and give you the information so that you can move up to the next level. You have to carry yourself differently. Your mannerisms tell everything you need to know. Okay, let's talk about some mannerisms that tell me everything I need to know. One of the things I do, and I do very well, is I look at how you carry yourself. I look at how you speak. I look at where your hands are. I look at how you hold your body, and it tells the entire story. If you want to be known as a woman who's confident, you have to carry yourself in a certain way. Your mannerisms have to be in alignment. If you're constantly, when you're talking, you got your hands over your mouth. You're crunched down. You're looking down. You're looking down. You're not even looking in the eyes. Looking in the eyes is like, I am here. It is a privilege for you to serve me, but it's my right to be served. Look, eye contact is so important. Walking straight, with your body language has to be. It's important. Not putting your hands over your mouth while you're talking, speaking up and clearly. All these things speak to the language of resources and wealth. You can tell where a person is socially, the type of class that they have based on the way they carry themselves. Mannerisms will repel me too. If there's certain mannerisms that I'm seeing, I don't want no parts because I already know that you don't have anything to offer to my self-development for me going up to the next level. You don't have anything that's going to help me or assist me in doing so. So I'm going to be looking at your mannerisms. No one talks about mannerisms. No one talks about self-concept. And no one talks about worldview. All of these are the language of the people who have resources and wealth. You have to be able to speak that language. If you don't speak that language, not saying that you won't be able to interact with these people, because you will. But it's the level of, do you want to interact with them, date them, or do you want to marry them? Which one are we trying to obtain? That is the question you need to ask yourself. That is the question you need to ask yourself. Because I can normally tell in 5 seconds or less if a woman is going to marry a working poor, a middle class man, upper middle class man, rich, or a very wealthy one. Because of the way you carry yourself and what you present on social media. Because the language of the resource and wealth is privacy. Privacy. That's another word. You want to write it down? Write it down. Privacy is key. They're always looking for loyal and trustworthy. If all you do is put everything on social media, taking pictures of everything, and always have multitudes of selfies, you're already indicating where you belong and what type of man you will marry. So there is a lot that goes to it. But to me, when I sum it up, I'm telling you all how you can move upward. Like, there's women, I've said this before in another video. If you don't follow me on YouTube, you might want to, because I've talked about this before. I've explained this before YouTube 2 years ago. And that's when I didn't have a lot of followers though, but I did do the video. And this is this is just a better version of the video that needs to be talked about, because you all are looking at the wrong things that indicate wealth. Because a lot of the people who are indicating wealth do not have wealth. They do not have wealth. But it looks like they have wealth because you don't understand the language of the wealth. Of people who have wealth, they speak a different language. They do not speak the language of the people who do not have wealth. Because I know some people can be triggered when I say poor. And some people can be triggered when I say poor. Hopefully you don't get triggered by me saying it. But I want to be very clear in this video because I think it's super important. You want to move up? I can help you move up. Because I know and understand the language of resource and wealth. I have been social climbing since the beginning of time. I started off very poor. I grew up in a poor family. So I know what it is. And I have some empathy for women who are trying their best to move up in life. And the easiest way for women to move up in life, the quickest way, is marriage. So if you're against marriage, this is another thing that no one is going to tell you. If you're against marriage, you're speaking against resource and wealth. You're speaking that you're a fun time girl, that you're for dating. You're not for marriage. If you're one of these women who speak against marriage because you feel like it's a piece of paper, well, you're speaking the language of the poor, because only that group of people ignore what marriage does for you. Marriage is looked like, with people who have resources and wealth, it's looked like as a legacy. It's looked like as a way to inherit. It's looked like a way of making your life better. Marriage isn't just about love in these circles. And guess what? The more resources that you have, the least likely you will be divorced. Because the further you go up the ladder, they understand marriage. They understand marriage. It's the poor that divorce on the regular. They divorce on the regular. The reason why people who have resources and wealth is because of the resources and wealth. You don't want to mess up your children's inheritance. Okay? You don't want to split it. You don't want to, you're more focused on making sure that your children get the inheritance. That's super important. That's super important to have things to pass down to the next generation. The language of resource and wealth, there is no such thing as a GoFundMe or a fish fry. Those things do not happen in those circles. They have insurance. They have something for everything to protect themselves on all levels. Business insurance, life insurance, home insurance, pay insurance, income insurance. This is the language of resources and wealth. Hey, Nappy Susie, how are you doing? So I just want you to realize that all the talk on social media is only focused in on what someone has, how you need to dress. Etiquette is, of course, etiquette is key, because you do not want to be a woman who eats as though she's at a pig trough. You do have to be a woman with class and have etiquette, because when he takes you somewhere, he wants to be proud of you. He wants to have a woman who can mesh with the lifestyle. So that is super important. Wealth whispers, no logos, quality over quantity, no flash, health and cleanliness is wealth, privacy is priority. Absolutely. Absolutely. And these are things that are not talked about when they talk about how to social climb. Y'all are trying to social climb in a superficial way, but it's only going to make you eligible to date a rich man, not marry one. And that's the biggest difference. And you shouldn't settle. A woman who has a certain level of class would never settle for dating only. She wants that marriage because she understands legacy and generational wealth. That is the language of resource and wealth. It's a whole different language. Is there some exceptions to the rules? Yes, but you cannot bank on exceptions. Don't bank on the exception. Don't bank on what you see on social media. Bank on the rules, and the rules will never steer you clear. They will never steer you wrong. But you need to pay attention to your mindset. Your mindset needs to be adjusted. Who do you need to become to date those type of men? So your mindset, the language that you're speaking, the language that you're letting you're basically vibrating at, the language that your mannerisms, all these things matter. All these things matter. This is the reason why I think too much social media is a bad thing, because I came across the video that talked about how men marry. And they indicated that all men just marry men, all men marry is the woman in front of them. Y'all, that is so incorrect for men who have resources. It's the language of resources and wealth is generational wealth. It is important that you pass something down. It's not something that you don't get to decide not to. It is important that you pass generational wealth down. It is a point of pride to be able to say that your wealth is going to be able to support your grandkids' grandkids. This is the perspective and mindset that you have to have. So when you're going in, you're looking at the resources and wealth. Learn how to speak the language. Like, health is wealth. Like, get away from this mentality that health doesn't matter. Health absolutely matters. The type and quality of food matters. The gyms, the restaurants, all of these things matter. All of these things indicate if you're going to be meshed well with a man that has resources and wealth. And like I said, there's levels. And it's not hard to tell which level a woman will mesh well with, based off of how she's presenting herself, her mannerisms, and the language that she speaks. If she speaks the language of the poor, then she's going to be in alignment with the men that are poor. And I don't want that for any of you all. But you have to look at what is going to need to be changed in order for you to date that type of man. What type of woman do you have to become? This is what helps me to always level up. And I reinvent myself. Go look at my pages. You'll see me reinventing myself. Me changing and separating. Because it's important when you are wanting to keep speaking the language of resources and wealth, that you want to continue to represent the language of resources and wealth. People can tell you, can see what class you belong in. And some of you think it doesn't matter. It does. It does. People are trying to align with the people who are in similar situations. If you're trying to cross that divide and you want to stop aligning with the same people because it isn't getting you anywhere, it's time to separate and change. It's time to do what's required so that you can do so. Don't get distracted with what you see on social media. Social media is full of frauds, fakes, and phonies of people who say they have something, but they're making it off of you. They're making it off of you because sometimes clicks, likes, and shares can equal money. The real people who have resources and wealth, they have a business, they're very private, they speak a different language, they have a different mindset. It's not this superficial stuff that you see on social media about his clothes, his shoes, his cars. The people who have, do y'all realize that the people who have the most luxury cars are not the rich and the wealthy? Not even the upper middle class anymore. Because upper middle class is trying to get to rich. So they're not driving luxury vehicles anymore. The most driven vehicle that the rich and wealth are driving, do y'all know what it is? I'm going to let y'all guess. Anybody who knows, who has been associated with these type of circles, you're going to know. What is the most driven car by the rich and the wealthy? I'm going to give you a moment to answer. Think about it. What is the most driven car by the rich and the wealthy? By people who have resources. What is the car that they drive the most? I'm going to look for one more answer and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you know. Okay, so I see it twice. Honda. But most of y'all are looking at men who drive BMWs, Jaguars, and all these luxury vehicles. But these vehicles they're driving takes away from their net worth, because those cars reduce in the amount that they're worth. Honda is the most driven vehicle in these circles. When I go out to my neighborhood, I don't see a lot of luxury vehicles. It's rare. Because you don't continue to keep going and going up to the next level if you're overspending. So people who have wealth and resources, they still use coupons. They still find the best deal. They still shop off the racks. What you see on social media is fake, frauds, and phonies. I'm on the edge of my seat, LOL. They spend $40 a ton on regular vehicles, I don't know what I'm saying, CRVs. So it is Honda. Honda is the car of the rich and wealthy. Because they're trying to go to the next level. But you can't go to the next level if you overspend. If you aren't frugal. If you just use your money carelessly. The things that they invest in with their money, they take their money and it's going in investments. This is the reason why there will be plenty of millionaires made in this downturn. Recessions, millionaires. Matter of fact, you double how much you're investing during a recession because you're going to make more money. And that's another point. I'm glad you said that. Usually, if they invest in luxury and label, they are looking for something that will appreciate in value. So they don't go get things that don't appreciate. They get things that can add to their net worth. Hondas can appreciate in value. I've seen people cash out equity from their Hondas. Absolutely. My father and his girlfriend live in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in our state. And you see more Hondas and Fords, normal vehicles than luxury. Absolutely. You don't. When I walk around my neighborhood, it's just Hondas. Majority of them are Hondas. But it's not luxury vehicles. So when I see on social media where they have these luxury vehicles and these big tail mansions, y'all, usually the people who live in the big tail mansions are like celebrities, entertainers. The regular rich and wealthy, they live in normal homes. They live in normal homes and gated neighborhoods. Their wives drive minivans and Yukons. Yes, they do. They do. That's why my kids are like, I have the mom car. Because usually the wealthy wives drive the mom cars. That's what they drive. He drives like the Honda. So, in order to get your mind right, to be able to mesh well with a man of resources and wealth, you're going to have to look at your mindset. You're going to also have to look at your health. How is your health? Are you taking care of your health? Is your health a priority? Because the things that meant that people have resources, spend a lot of money in, is health. So they literally will spend a lot of money in organic foods. They literally will spend a lot of money in gyms. Good quality gyms. So food, organic, investing. I've heard some of them invest up to 70%. Do y'all know how much 70% of what you make is? But they're investing up to 70% in investments. Because their goal is always to go to the next level. I've never met a person with resources and wealth to be content. They're never content. They're always trying to go to the next level. That's another thing that's going to separate you between the rich and the poor. It's contentment. The poor will be contented because they have a roof over their head, because they have food, they have something to drive, they have a job. They can be in content. But the rich, they're never content. They're always trying to go to the next level, figure out how they can make more money, how they can develop more, how they can get around the right people. Because the people is another thing. They're going to be surrounded by the right people at all costs. That's the reason why they're separating themselves from the average people. That's a better word, right? We'll use average instead of poor. We use average instead of poor so it doesn't trigger people on social media. They're always figuring out a way to how to separate themselves from the average people. They've been doing that since the beginning of times. That's the reason why at one point being overweight was a sign of wealth, because the people who were rich and were wealthy, they had access to better quality meats and foods. But once the average people had access to those things, they had to start separating themselves even further. Now it's all organic. Now it's all better quality gyms. Now it's all about being slim. Being slim. And I know nobody wants to talk about the fact that slim is equal to being wealthy. And that is the mindset when it comes to speaking the language of resource and wealth. But you have a choice as a woman. A woman can choose to date from all classes of men. You have to choose which one is going to be best for you. And that's what this video is really about. You choose which one is going to be best for you. Do you want to date a poor man? Do you want to date a middle class man? Do you want to date an upper middle class man? Do you want to date a rich man? Do you want to date a wealthy man? Figure out which one you want to date. And then look at what type of women does that man date? What type of woman do you got to become to date those type of men? And y'all have to stop getting so much of your information about these people from social media because it's so incorrect. Y'all are literally getting exceptions. You're getting a lot of exceptions when it comes to social media. You're getting the exception of she doesn't have to care about her health. You're getting the exception that she doesn't have to care about her self-concept or mindset. You're getting the exception that she doesn't have to live her lifestyle a certain way. All of these are exceptions that you're showing on social media. And it appeals to the average. You know why it appeals to the average? Because it makes you seem as though you can do it too. That you can do it too. So it seems more attainable than it truly is. So you'll see, that's the reason why I see, y'all know I'm on TikTok. Even though I don't know why I see I'm on TikTok. I don't be up there enough. But I am there. I do look at content on there. And I do see like the rise of like the stay-at-home girlfriend to rich men. Do y'all realize that they are saying something to those men? If they're saying something to the men that's not speaking of wealth and resources. And like I said before, there's a certain self-concept and mindset that you have to have that is not being talked about. And this is the reason why a lot of women think that I have to just be in this zip code. I just have to wear a certain thing. I just have to speak a certain way. Not realizing when you're put to the test, they're going to look at your mannerism. They're going to look at how you carry yourself. They're going to look at what you say and what you believe in. And this is what's going to divide you or get you further into that circle. So it's not going to be just being able to be beautiful and look a certain way. Because there's been plenty of beautiful women that cannot get into those circles. But a lot of times because their self-concept is off. Like I said before, when you think of life and things that you want to obtain, if you look at it as though it's a privilege, your self-concept does not fit for a rich man, wealthy man. Your self-concept can possibly fit a middle class or upper middle class man because they're going to be more understanding. And since I started out poor, I'm more understanding. I think I'm more understanding than my counterparts. I'm more understanding than the women who live the type of lifestyle that I live. Because I started off with nothing. That gives you a different perspective to life. But I understood that once we started going up, that I need to change how I viewed the world. So that I can fit into those circles. And I can make friends and mesh well with people who are in that lifestyle. And I've said it before on prior videos that I don't fit completely. And how? Because I have empathy. I have empathy to a certain level. I have empathy that people are poor. If you actually are a part of these circles, you would hear the conversation that you should never be poor living in America. And you're going to hear it. There's a certain level of elitism that comes with this. And going up, your self-concept has to change. That's the reason I say all the time, change your mindset, change your life. All right, so let me look and see where we at here. I'm going to read the comments and then I'll go back. Okay. But because you had good food, period. And marry Lord Jesus. I didn't see your other, Leah, I didn't see, what was the other comment to that? Or is that it? And marry. Yeah, because when you hear women talking about, I don't want to be married, y'all are literally talking as though you're not speaking the language of resources and wealth. You're not. Because anyone who understands wealth, understands generational wealth, understands it has to be passed down, understands there's a certain level of pride to know that your money will provide for your grandchildren's grandchildren. That is a certain level of pride. And that's what the goal is consistently for people who have resources and wealth. Yes, is there an exception? Absolutely. But can we build our lives on exceptions? No. There will be exceptions. You will see them. Social media identifies the exceptions. And people align with it because it seems easy. It seems something that they can do, so they go with it. But I can tell you it's not true. Where do we get information about dating and marry a wealthy man? Well, I'm giving you the information. I'm giving you information on how to do that. Having information is not enough. Having information is not enough. If your goal is to date and marry a rich or wealthy man, then you need to change your self-concept. You need to change the way you view the world. It's not just about lifestyle. It's about, you need to look at your health. Your health needs to be top tier. You need to be a woman who is routine oriented. You need to be okay with having a routine. You need to be okay with self-development. You need to be okay with learning the language of resources and wealth. It goes deeper than wearing a certain thing or being in a certain neighborhood. Going into certain neighborhoods just means that you may be able to date that man. And see, marrying is a whole different thing. Dating and marrying are two different things, you all. A lot of information on social media is about dating them, not marrying them. And every woman will not be a good mesh with a wealthy man. Every woman will not be a good mesh with a wealthy man. I'm telling you the truth. They're going to tell you lies and to keep you on their page. Because this is not a popular thing to say. You want to tell women that all of you can date rich men. You cannot. You have to be a particular woman. And normally it's not hard to tell if you're a type of woman that will date and marry a rich and wealthy man. If I was to ask any woman on this live stream, how much money have you put into self-development? I want people to answer below in the comment section. How much money have you invested in self-development? Just this month. It's January. I'll give y'all a moment. How much money have you invested in self-development? And it can be in any area. It could be health. It could be mindset. It could be any area. How much money have you invested in self-development? Because this is a good indicator that a woman is going to be a good mesh for that lifestyle. Because a woman who is marrying a wealthy or rich man, she's going to be investing in her self-development. There's no cutting corners in that. So she's always going to be learning. She's always going to be absorbing information. She's always going to be leveling up herself. How much money have you invested in self-development? All right. So, no takers. Let's go to the next question. How do you view the world? Do you view the world as though it is a privilege to have what you have, or it is a right? I'm going to wait for a moment for you to answer the question. All right, so are y'all taking your time? Or no one has anything to add to that? Let me know in the comment section. This is not a way to embarrass anyone. It's a way for you to open up your mind if you want to social climb and you're interested in moving up and you want to marry a man of resources and means. You need to understand what is being looked for. This is the reason why I don't make this my entire platform either. I don't make this my entire platform because I understand that every woman is not looking or would not fit to marry a man of resources and means. Not that you should marry someone poor either, because that's not my platform either. I do not believe in you marrying poor, but you can at least do better than poor, okay? Or basically average. Let's say average. You can do better than average. So, no takers. How much do you spend in your gym membership? Don't be shy. This is going to help you to figure out what type of class of man that you're going to fit better with. And if you don't like the class of man that you fit with, we're going to talk about how to change that. So how much is your gym membership? Let me see what time it is too while I'm doing this. Okay, I got some time. Got a little bit. That's enough to do this video. No gym takers? Okay, let's go to the next question. How much is your food bill and what do you purchase? Oh, y'all, let me go. Oh, y'all. Why y'all didn't tell me there's some comments down below? Y'all know I'm not a social media person. Okay, let's keep going. $10,000 euros in 5 years. That's self-development, right? $300. $170 this month. Like certifications, no. Self-development is about you. You're investing in you as a woman. Are you investing in your wound care? Are you investing in your health? Are you investing in your nutrition? Are you investing in your self-concept, your mindset? Not in your employment. So if you put down an amount that you invested for your employment, this is not what I'm talking about. 300 for January, over 25K. 50 for gym, 100 for language classes. What are some other investment ideas? Okay, I'll get to that in a second. No money but time. Corset has free courses. I listen to Les Brown for motivation. I talk to my clients frequently and read their papers, LOL. I also listen to a lot of people like you. About $500. Privilege. It is a privilege. Okay, so I'm going to keep answering. Okay. If you answer for privilege, change your mindset. Change your mindset. That's where self-concept needs to come into play. When you're talking or speaking the language of resources and wealth, nothing is a privilege. Everything is a right. Everything is a right. This is the reason why I tell you all the time, I always win. I'm not lucky. I always win. It is a mindset. It's a perspective change. Self-concept is key, especially if you're trying to move up in life. Privilege, but after this video is going to change. Facts. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to change. So I'm giving you all the answers. I'm going to give you the answers now. It's a right to have abundance. It is a right because I deserve everything that I attract because I attract it. Yes. Honestly, my ancestors put in the work and I'm no different. We get it. Marriages work too. I came late. What did I miss? Baby, you're going to have to wait until I post. 1,000 E for the gym, 100 E for gym, 67 E. I pay for it with my apartments. I spend a nice amount on a personal development I have in the past mainly. 50 and it's yoga gym, so I never meet any men. Getting back to walking daily. Home, honestly. Hot fruits, organic, hello fresh. People that have resources and means, they don't shop in the inside out. They only shop on the outside. Everything is fresh. Everything is organic. It is a flex to be able to get things. Now it's moving away from shopping in stores to shopping from the farm. So take that in mind. It's getting away. Didn't I tell you all, the rich is always trying to figure out how they can isolate from the average because they want to be away from the average. They want to separate themselves because they feel like it's their right. It's their right to set the standards, to model what they feel like is best. Whole Foods, about $400 per month. 300 to 500 weekly, mostly veggies and fruits. Absolutely. Leisure class is good. Yes. I don't go to the gym. I work at my home gym or in the park. I like to spend on things that I only have to pay for once or twice. It keeps on giving. It is my right to taste the riches of the work. Absolutely. It sure is. Same. I use workout apps. Okay, you're talking about. Yes. So, understanding the language, your mindset. How do you feel about marriage? What do you view marriage as? Do you view marriage as love? Or do you view marriage as legacy? What do you view marriage as? I'm going to let you comment down below. And now since I realize I have to scroll up and down, then I can get your answers. Legacy. Legacy. Legacy, 1000%. Absolutely. Marriage is about legacy. It is not about love. Love comes after the legacy. You can have love. I'm not saying that people who have resources and means of wealth don't have love, because they do. But they understand that it's important to pass down a legacy. It is a point of pride to know. Y'all, it's a point of pride to know that when I die, my children will inherit farmland. My children will inherit properties. My children will inherit these things. And that means their children will inherit these things. And then this means that we have literally set our children up for life. These things are important. Marriage is for legacy. Love comes after. But when you are thinking of average, and this is the reason why I say some women will fit with an average man, because average people worry about love. They concern themselves about love. They seek love. They look for love. When people who are rich, wealthy, they seek legacy. They connect and combine their resources. Well, if the woman normally, sometimes she don't have any resources, but they combine everything so that generational legacy, generational wealth can happen. I'm not saying love doesn't happen, because it does. Absolutely. I've met plenty of rich and wealthy people who have love, but that is not the main focus point. This is the reason why also that when the higher you go up in class, there are no divorces, because it's not, the focus isn't on love. The focus is on legacy. The focus is on improving our lives. The focus is on passing down something to children. The focus is on the family. And since the focus is more on the family versus individuals, They stay together compared to the poor, the average, who divorce quicker. So the 50% in divorce rate, go look at who's divorcing. And I guarantee you, it isn't the rich and the wealthy. I'll get a one-on-one with you to go deeper on the subject. They're happier also. They are happier. There's research out here, statistics that shows that I'm telling you the truth. Go look at the divorce rate of people who are upper middle class and up. They do not divorce. They stay together. They're happier because everything is focused on the family. Once they become a family, it's focused on family. But the average and the poor are still searching for love and looking for love. And they separate easily based off love. And she just brought a good point. They are happier too. They are happier also. There is a language to resources and moving up. It's not about fitting in. It's not about standing out. It's more about fitting in. It's more about fitting in and then getting to a certain level where you can stand out. Then getting to a certain level where it doesn't, you don't have to concern yourself about fitting in. That's the reason why they're always investing in their self-development, always investing in themselves overall. Health is wealth. Taking care of your health, taking care of your body, concerning yourself what you intake and what you eat. That's important. Dating these men is not enough. The information on social media will get you dating them. You'll be able to date them. But why not marry them? Why not marry them? Why not change your trajectory? Why not marry them and be able to have generational wealth? But we have to have the right information. And this is the reason why we're having this conversation today. Because I think it's super important that you look at how you see things. That's the reason why I do a lot of self-concept work. I've been priming you all since I started my page to be able to marry well. Because I'm focusing on your self-concept. Because you cannot see, you cannot marry what you cannot see. My dark femme mother, average thinker, left a wealthy husband, bright is back to poverty. She left him for love for another. Brought us. And see, and this girl, I got stories. Because my dark femme mother did the same thing too. Because they are not healthy. And since they're not healthy, they're wounded. They don't make good decisions. They don't focus on the big picture. They don't focus in on the big picture. You won't ever speak to a person that has resources and wealth. They don't focus in on just love because they know that it's not love that keeps them together. What is the main thing that keeps a couple together? And this is also across the board, regardless of what class that they are in. What is the main thing that keeps people together? I'll let you all answer while I take a sip. Finances, understanding, money values, being like-minded, what keeps marriages together is values, principles, having a similar thinking. These things keep people together. When my husband aggravates my soul, because there's no such thing as perfect. Like, I might just be in a bad mood. He says something, he aggravates my soul. I would never divorce him because we value the same thing. I love him and he loves me, but we value the same thing. So when I'm having a bad day or we're having a bad day as a couple, we can always look back and see that we value the same things. Values is the glue that keeps marriages together. Values is what keeps people together. When you start just trying to date based off interest, you're shortchanging yourself. Because that's the reason why you have so many people who seem like they're going to go the distance. But they're only together based off their interests. Both of you all like to play basketball, or both of you like some type of hobby, or both of you like to go out. Those are interests. Interests do not keep couples together. Interests do not keep people going the long run. It is values, having similar principles. We both have strong family values. We both will stand up, ride, do what it takes for our family. And that is a principle for us. It's important to us. I would never marry a man who didn't have similar values. He has to have similar values. He can have different hobbies. I don't care. We don't have the same hobbies. We do not have the same interests. This is the reason why people are always super surprised that we're together, because we have different interests. Being like-minded. I was going to say love and respect. Being legacy-minded. How can two walk together unless they be agreed? You must be equally yoked in your values and principles. Yes, you have to look at life somewhat similar. So while you're out here dating this man who has resources and means to do things, his values need to align with yours. Then you have a chance. If he is a man who doesn't believe in family, and the only thing he cares about is money, and you believe wholeheartedly in family, family is your number one priority, then y'all are going to clash along the way. Values matter. Principles matter. Another thing that no one talks about, and this goes back to my self-concept that needs to be changed and needs to be talked more about. If you want to move up, your self-concept needs to change. When I talk about money, I don't look at money as though it's something hard work for. I don't look at money as though I got to hustle for it. I look at money as that it's a right to have money. It's a right to have money come to me. Money is easy. Money is easy to have. Money is easy to hold. And this is another concept that you're going to see, that people have resources and money. They look at it as though money is easy to have. But when you talk to an average man, what does he tell you about money? What does he tell you about money? Because I have a diverse group of people that I hang around. And when I'm talking with an average person and I listen to when they talk about money, they talk about how hard it is to get, how difficult it is to make. And when I get to another circle, they talk about how easy it is to get and how people are lazy, and that's the reason why they don't have it. So I want you to think about that. You're looking at money as though, it's hard to get. It's hard to make. Well, the language of resource and wealth is looking at money as though, it's another day. It's another day to have it. It's my right to have money. To become that woman, you have to start looking at things as though it's your right. People will call you elitist. I've been called elitist. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what they call you. You're going to have thick skin in this world anyway. He ain't got it. That's right. And you're going to hear he ain't got it. It's hard to make. It's hard to have. You know how hard I got to work to get it. You won't ever hear someone who has resources and money talk about how hard it is to work to get it. You will be talking about they'll be talking more along the lines of how they can make more and how easy it is to make more and how they work hard, but it's easy to do so. And these are the things you're going to hear differently. But you can move up that ladder yourself, but you need to fit in. You need to fit in. Stop looking at social media to stand out. Social media is talking nothing about exceptions. That's what they're showing you. They're showing you the girl who married the old dude because this dude got 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on the banana peel. So they're showing you that girl. That's easy. That's easy to do. You can go marry your old dude. Okay? And they're talking about I don't even want to say it on this video because I want to repost, and it's hard to repost when I say the wrong things. But looking at social media, you would think I can do that too, because they're posting exceptions. They're not posting the rule. They're posting the woman who doesn't care about her health and she landed with a millionaire, or she dating a millionaire, not married now. Because sometimes I think in the world that we live in, people look at someone dating that person and then think that it's easy to flip the script and go to marriage. It is not. If your values don't align, you don't mesh well with the lifestyle, you don't speak the language, you're going to have a harder time of flipping the script from dating to marriage. Or he will spin it and make you feel like you don't deserve what you're asking for. Absolutely. That's the reason why it's key to flip your mindset and stop looking at it as though it's a privilege. Like, you need to start thinking of things as though it's a right. I deserve this. This is my birthright. Or you can do what is normal. Like, you can do what's normal too. And let me tell you what that looks like. Because I think a lot of women need a little bit of realism. You can either marry the men are in your environment, or you can social climb, make yourself better, adjust and separate yourself from the things that are holding you back. And you can marry well. But you don't get to have both. You don't get to have both in this. You need to decide and make a decision today. No one is going to tell you the truth of the matter. This is what I want to get away from. I don't mind delusion. I think delusion is healthy. But if there's no work behind the delusion, then delusion is not useful. Let me say it again. Delusion is healthy. But if there's no work behind the delusion, then delusion is not helpful. So being in delusion, saying that you can marry that type of man, but not willing to do anything to be a fit for that type of man, or be that type of woman that type of man marries, then that is the issue. Social media is good about exceptions. They show the exceptions. A lot of people probably don't even want to hear this video. I'm quite sure if I repost it, this video is going to get so many, I don't know. I already know where it's going because I haven't been here before. I've done this type of video before in the past. I did a video 2 years ago talking about how social climbing is going to get to the point of being impossible. And like I claimed it 2 years ago, I'm already seeing the results of that. I am seeing where the people who have resources and means, they're isolating themselves to the point where you won't be able to have access to them. So if you want to do this, you need to start making moves. You got to stop thinking about it, contemplating it, praying about it. You need to start making a move. Prayer without work is dead. You need to start doing what it takes to move up if that's what your goal is. But if you want to marry the man who's in your environment, because the level of man in your environment is the level of husband you will have. And if you don't like those odds, then you need to make the effort to change. And you will not get all the information from free content. That's unfortunate truth. Because there's a certain level of privacy that has to happen. What did I tell you about the language of resources and wealth is privacy. You won't see all of the secrets on social media. You barely will see them in a book. Because one of the keys of separation is privacy, is not having information available to the public. Wealthy people are also moving to other countries where they get more for their USD. Absolutely, they are. They've already decimated the middle class. Middle class is hardly there. It's hanging on by a thread. And they're separating themselves further and further away. But they've been doing that since the beginning of time. They've always figured out how to separate themselves from the average man. And that will always continue. So instead of being upset that there is a separation, learn what you need to know so you can bridge that gap. And stop getting your information from the exceptions of social media. Because she did it, you might not be able to. You might not be able to. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Just because she did don't mean you can do it too. Especially if you don't have the right people around you and you don't have the right information. Wealthy people are working on creating more only so that I can invest in self-development, moving up. Yeah, because you have to think about it. Let me tell you a harsh truth. Because if it wouldn't be me and my platform if I didn't tell harsh truth. The men that you've been dating, that is your level. And if you don't like the men that you've been dating, do something about it. I got to tell you some harsh truth. I cannot lie to you. I have to tell you the truth. If you don't want to date those men and it hasn't been working out for you, do something about it. Because the level of man that you are bringing into your world is the men that you've dated in your past. And if you can look at everybody that you've dated in your past and none of them will work for nothing, then you need to do something about it. You have to get away from this. I'm not going to invest in myself. I don't know where y'all get that from. Because me, as someone who has resources, I invest daily. Because it's a must. Because there's no sense of contentment. Remember what I told you about average people and their contentment? Like, if you're contented, then you're ready for average life. Don't seek out anything further. If you're contented where you are and you look at life as though it's a privilege to have what you have, then stay where you are. Because that's where you need to be at. That's going to be your lane. There's no contentment in me. I told you all this years ago, I'm a greedy woman. I know someone who lived in a trailer park. She's 300 pounds and she married a rich man. See, and these are exceptions. I'm going to say it again. It may make me unpopular, but I'm already there. So I can't make myself any more unpopular than I already am, right? I don't think there's no possibility to go further. Is it? I don't know. I don't know social media like that. But I can tell you this. Health is wealth. Men that have resources and means, they are going to gravitate to the woman who takes care of herself. They're going to gravitate to the woman who has that gym membership. They're going to gravitate to the woman who's buying organic food. They're going to gravitate to the woman who cares about what she eats and her lifestyle, her healthy lifestyle. So the exception that you see on social media, let me tell you this. Here's another thing that people don't take into context. If this person's surrounded by wealth already, why aren't you penetrating it? If you're surrounded by wealth anyway, why aren't you penetrating it? Why aren't you in those circles? Why aren't you able to date those men? Because you should be able to. But you can't date them if you're not speaking their language. If you don't have the same perspective. If your principles and values don't align. So you can't date them. So you're just watching them, but you can't date them. The easiest way to move up is if you live around them or you do business with them, marry one of them. But you might have to change the way you think and the way you see the world. Because 9 out of 10, that's what's blocking you from actually being able to marry that type of man. There's no stagnation. Either we grow, either we regress. So should you be grateful for things? You're going to be grateful, but you're going to still see it's your right. Two things can be right at the same time. So I can be grateful and I can still see things as my right. I can still see that I deserve this. I can still see life as though I deserve to have access. It's a right for me. So you can be grateful and you can have gratitude. See, that's the thing that average people get caught up in. Like, there's a issue of not wanting to appear arrogant or not wanting to appear elitist. And see, people who speak the language of resources and wealth, they don't care. They don't care if you view them as elitist. They don't care if you view them as a person of privilege. They don't care if you view them as a person who has resources. It's a point of pride to have that anyway. But they see it as a right. And see, this is a belief that sometimes we have to shift. Because I get where you're coming from. I'm not picking on you. I get where you're coming from. Because I had to make peace with that too. I had to make peace with that. Think about being around people, and when they talk, let me see what time it is, breakfast, like, and I gotta get ready to go. Think about being around people when all they say is people are poor because they don't work hard. When you know, growing up poor, that sometimes people don't have resources because of circumstances, because of their family, because of depression. There's so many things that go into it. But see, I have empathy because I've been there before. I have empathy because I've experienced it before. But think about being in those circles. Some people will get triggered and be like, oh, you can't say that. And they want to go down the whole rabbit hole of why. See, that's the thing. The language of the rich, resources and wealth, they don't care about why. Because they look at it as though it's a right. You live in America. You live in the United States. It is possible to go from poor to rich. And I know some of you don't live in America, okay? I'm just talking about it from the perspective of an American, because I'm an American. And they don't look at it as though that it can't happen. They look at it as something is wrong with you because you're not rich. You're doing something wrong in life. I have empathy and understanding of what happened. Along the way, some people who have resources and means, they forget that. They forget that things can happen. Because there's a mindset shift that has to happen when you realize that I got here once, I can get there twice. If I got there twice, I can get there thrice. If I got there thrice, I can get there 4 times. Because it's easy. I was in an expensive gym club, but the ladies in there never let me in when I tried to be friendly because they knew I was not one of them. Wealthy people recognize themselves and don't let average people in easily. It takes 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years. What you have to do is continue to go to that gym and keep interacting with them. You don't got to do anything for them. I suggest you don't. Don't take the mindset of I'm going to do nice things for them so they'll let me in. Don't do that, because that knocks you down. That shows that you're average if you do that. No, so don't do that. Just show up, be yourself, and just keep showing up, because it takes 2 to 3 years to build trust and loyalty. So then you can get into that circle. But don't go in and be, kissing their behind, because that makes you like an average person and you'll never get in. Because remember, the mindset is it's my right. And since it's my right to have these type of friends. It's my right to be around these type of people. Then you become one of them. But when you look at them as though that they're above you, then you're not one of them. Even if I'm well dressed, I come from a upper middle class and I have a good education. And that's great. See, that's a good start, because people don't talk about the education that has to happen. They don't talk about the fact that being educated does help. It's not one of those things. It's like a deal breaker, but it does help that you're educated. Don't think that they just go around picking up people who work in restaurants or waitresses and stuff. That's not true. That's another exception that I've heard on social media. Education matters because it puts you in that dynamic. It puts you in position. It puts you in position. Having something to talk about other than the reality shows. If you can talk about jazz, or you can talk about different types of, there's another level of music that you need to listen to. I can't remember the name of it because I just had a brain fart. But I think I'm going to have to pick this up at part 2 because I have to get ready to go in a second. I should have known this video. I need time. You're right. A few years later, when they saw me be friendly with coaches and join Zumba classes, they started saying hello and talking to me, and they will. They will. You just got to show up as yourself. You got to show up as someone who is enjoying what you're doing. You're not there to see them. You're just there to live life. This is your normal. Show up as though it's your normal and you're not just visiting. And that goes into what we talked about in the beginning of this video, mannerisms. Mannerisms. Walk in like you own it. Walk in like you know people. Walk in like you are a part of that circle, even if you aren't yet. Mannerisms and presence is key. Act as though you already won. If anything, own your independence and show up as you. Be mean. Sometimes it pays. It does. Y'all wouldn't. It pays to be mean and strict with your boundaries, because that aligns with the principles of people who have resources and wealth. You don't want to be friends with someone who can be bought. You don't want to be friends with someone who don't stand on their principles and what they believe in. This is the language of the resources and means. They love people who are principled. So when you go in and you're wish-washy, you don't really show what you believe in. You're trying to fit in. You're trying to say what is needed to fit in with those people. You've already shown yourself to be an average person. So yes, do you have to be mean sometimes? Absolutely. It shows that you're principled. It shows that you mean what you say. Because you will be tested. You will be tested to see if you are what you say you are. Because it's all about trying to get that loyalty and trust. And that takes years. So the exceptions on social media, when they're talking about y'all can just walk into these circles, you cannot. You cannot. Yeah, I was going to say, trying to be friendly is a red flag to some. You must let them observe you and get curious about you. And if you build it, they will come. Never look thirsty. Yes. Uphold your own standards and be about you. The moment I started ignoring them and joined my classes as if I bought the gym club, they got used to seeing me and started feeling me. And it's absolutely correct. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Classical music, absolutely. Solfeggio frequency, yes, they love those. On YouTube, there's a lot of like frequency things. They love that stuff. They love the chakras alignment, the frequency. They love those top tier things that's going to help them develop themselves. Like I said, it's all about self-development. Thank you, B. You're welcome. You're welcome. But I have to get ready to go. I should have known that this topic would take longer. I don't even know how long we've been up here. Probably over 2 hours already. So we'll have to do like a part 2. But I already owe you all the final to my money series. But we're gonna get into this because I think 2023 we need to be doing this stuff now. Because by 2025 it's gonna be harder to access the people who have resources and wealth. They're already making it difficult now. So we definitely have to be moving now, because by 2025, it's going to be almost level of impossibilities unless you work with them. And if you work with them, you have access to them. But there's another way there's some things you need to change if you're not attracting them. Good conversation part 2, please. You should do a inner circle workshop on this subject. Thank you. We'll be this posted on YouTube. Yes, I'm going to post this on YouTube. And Nappy Susie, baby, that's why I love my inner circle. They keep me right. That is a perfect workshop. Let's talk about social climate in its entirety. Let's get deep. Let's talk about all that I know about social climate, because a lot of people don't realize I know a lot about it. And I can help you go to that next level. So that is a great workshop idea. I didn't even think of it. My inner circle member did. So guess what? Y'all will get a workshop on it. Of course, as I will allow non-members to come in, but there is a fee for that type of information. So yeah, that's a great idea. Let me go because I do have an errand to run quickly. But I will be posting this on YouTube, and I'll see you all on the next one. You all have a great, great day.